People who commit evil because they feel like the world owes them, that the world robbed them of their true love soulmate, and they feel like they deserve true love, and they feel like the world owes them, and they feel like they have to show them and show the world and show them all so that they could get payback because they feel like they got their true love robbed from them. And I understand that feeling. I more than understand it, I relate to it, and I personally, I feel what that feels like, okay? Because I tried to do that on my own. And it's that feeling of like you finally found your soulmate. You finally found your true love. A romantic partner that you have been waiting on and waiting to talk to since your childhood. And it's that feeling of, hey, this is the person that I'm going to be with for the rest of my life and in the afterlife in heaven. And when you feel that with someone, it's a very strong love. And can almost be delusional. And it can almost drive you mad. And they say that love can drive you mad and love can make you blind. But that feeling can, when you lose it and it gets taken from you and you feel like it gets robbed from you, you want to get payback. You want to show them all. You want to show the world. And it's like, if I can't have her, then no one can. Or I'm going to get my revenge for having my true love soulmate ripped away from me. And it's almost like a protection thing, a fighter thing. Like, I'm going to fight for my love. I'm going to fight to get it back. But it's like, the way to go about that and fighting for your love, there are smarter and better and more professional ways of fighting for your love, okay? But to do evil things and terrible things and hurt other people because you feel like you got hurt and you got your true love soulmate robbed from you, that is wrong. And I admit it because I tried to do something myself like that. And it's like, I don't like that I tried to do something like that and I'm not proud of it. And I'm almost disgusted by myself for even trying to do something like that because I'm smarter than that and I shouldn't allow myself to be stupid and deluded by a woman's love because I know that the love that I feel from magic mushrooms, I've known this since I was around 20 years old, 21 years old. And I've not more than known this, I felt this, that the love from magic mushrooms is higher than the love I feel from my soulmate. And I know Jesus is the highest love. And he is the highest love I've felt with all my being. But that I will say the love I feel from magic mushrooms is higher than my soulmates. And when I'm talking about soulmate, I'm talking about if anybody that's seen Bridge to Terabithia or watched the movie, and having creating art brings me a lot of love. And I've talked about creating art in the past few videos, and I highly recommend watching, creating art, trash art, even if you're homeless. Highly recommend watching that because creating art can be so much beneficial for our mood and our mental health and our overall being and just help us feel better and feel love. And so you can feel a love from creating art because it feels like you're on your purpose because you are on your purpose, and I do think your purpose is to create art. But create art for Jesus, that's what I believe our purpose is. And that feeling of creating art, especially when you're doing it to help people, it feels amazing, it feels loving. Now when you're doing that with a woman and you having a co-creator, a co-artist, and you are creating art together for God and to help people, it is a beautiful, loving feeling, okay? And I think of Bridge to Terabithia where he built a tree house with his girlfriend, or I don't know if they were officially boyfriend and girlfriend, but a woman that he loved. And they built this tree house and decorated it and made it very beautiful, and that was their special spot, their hideout. And they were co-creators and creating together and co-artists. And it's that when you're creating art, especially with your soulmate, it is a beautiful, loving feeling. And I would want everyone to be able to feel like that, but not everyone gets to. And to have that taken away from you, especially what happened in Bridge to Terabithia when that woman the female that he was in love with, creating art with, and creating the secret hideout with, and she died. And he felt heartbroken. He felt like it was his fault, and he was in grief and pain, and he had so much loss in his heart. And he didn't even want to go back to Terabithia, and he let it abandon. And when he found out how she died, because she, there was, in order to get to their Terabithia and to the hideout, they have to swing over a rope across a river. And he found out that she died because she slipped off of the rope. And he realized, after she died, and he tried to grieve his emotions and process his emotions, he realized swinging over ropes to get to Terabithia is dangerous. And he also realized that the Terabithia doesn't have to be for him and her to enjoy, but for everyone to enjoy. And so he realized, okay, Terabithia, it can be for everyone, and everyone can enjoy it. And swinging it on a rope to be able to get to it is dangerous. So he built the bridge to Terabithia so that everyone could be able to come into their hideout and their special place and be able to feel and experience what they felt. And he opened it up to everyone. And so it's a very awesome story, and a loving story, and sad story, and I highly recommend watching the movie. I haven't read the book myself, but they said the books are better than the movies. But if you guys would be interested in checking that out. But that idea of having your soulmate and having a co-creator and a co-artist, and then you losing that, and then you feeling like the world robbed you of that, and that you want to do evils to get your payback, so you can show the world, so you can show them all, and so you can try to get the world to feel how you feel, which is wrong and evil. Because, like I said, the love that I feel from magic mushrooms is higher than the love that I feel from my soulmate. And yes, creating art is a loving feeling, and creating art with your soulmate is an even more loving feeling. But creating art and having magic mushrooms as your muse is a higher loving feeling than creating art with your soulmate, okay? And so that's why I want to try to help people be open to magic mushrooms. Now, I don't want to try to force it on anybody or try to get someone to try it, but I do want it to be an option for people, and for people to have that freedom of choice to, if they want that extra help, if they want that extra love, and they want to be able to see their problems with new lens, or if they want to boost their creativity and they want a muse for their art that isn't their soulmate because they haven't found their soulmate yet, or they lost their soulmate, okay? For people like that, I think magic mushrooms is a great muse for our art. And magic mushrooms, I believe and I know and I feel that it helps open my heart. And I say marijuana helps open my mind, and magic mushrooms helps open my heart. And so especially with creating art and pouring my heart and my soul into my art, and creating my art for God, and having magic mushrooms as my muse, I can create beautiful art. And I did this in the past, early when I started my channel, and I wasn't creating my video specifically for God like I am trying to now. But I was microdosing magic mushrooms and taking mushroom supplement like lion's mane and turkey tail mushrooms, and I can't remember what the others mushrooms were in that supplement. I think Myotake and I think cordyceps, but I could be mistaken. But I was taking a lot of mushrooms and microdosing psilocybin, and magic mushrooms served as a muse for my art. It helped me create better videos, it helped me be a better speaker, it helped me learn how to be a better speaker, how to get better at creating videos. It helped boost my creativity and open my imagination even more, and it opened my heart. So they helped me a lot, and I do think they have the potential, and I know and feel they have the potential to help everyone else. And so I want to try to help more people be open to it and not demonize it and seeing it as bad as heroin. Because I don't think marijuana and magic mushrooms, which are the safest, most natural substances that you can do, I don't even want to call them drugs, they're medicine, I see them as medicine. But they are the most natural, safe medicine that you can take, and they come from the earth. They are safer than tobacco, they are safer than alcohol, they are safer than heroin, okay? And so I even said that I think Jesus likes marijuana and magic mushrooms way more than tobacco and alcohol, because tobacco poisons our lungs and alcohol poisons our kidneys, our livers, and our entire body and all of our being. And when you drink alcohol, it feels like poison. Now, I think drinking wine every now and then, I bet I drink wine sometimes. I even thought about drinking wine tonight. Okay, but I think drinking alcohol every now and then is okay, and as a celebration or as a reward, I think it's okay. But abusing it and drinking every single day and waking up and drinking and then having alcohol addiction and struggling with alcohol poisoning and the risk of cirrhosis and kidney failure and liver failure, I think are potential risk and harmful. And all those risks, I don't think it's worth to be drinking alcohol every single day. And so, yeah, I way more prefer, and I think Jesus likes marijuana and magic mushrooms way more than tobacco and alcohol. And yeah, so for people who feel like they had their true love soulmate ripped away from them and robbed from them and took it away from them, and they feel like they need to get payback or revenge, or I need to show the world, I'll show them all, and they're gonna feel exactly how I feel. That's evil, okay? And I admit, I was there, I've done that, I felt like that before, okay? But I had to remember what it feels like, how magic mushrooms feels like to me, and creating art on magic mushrooms and with magic mushrooms, and have them serve as a muse for my art. That feeling, that love was higher than having a soulmate to create art with, and having your soulmate as your muse. So, for someone that feels like their true love was taken from them, I'm telling you, the love that I feel from magic mushrooms and creating art with magic mushrooms is higher than creating art with my soulmate, okay? So, but I understand magic mushrooms can be hard to get, which was part of my problem. But you can grow them, and it's legal to buy the equipment to grow them. And now once you start growing them, you start producing them, and that's where you get in trouble with the law. But then I've talked about this before, how there's some laws that aren't right. Even though, the government, they can arrest you for it, and the government says do not do this, it is a wrongful law, okay? Like slavery, okay? Like when the Jews, or when the Holocaust happened and the Nazis were, arresting the Jews and putting them in concentration camps, and they said that anybody that was hiding a Jew was a criminal, or any slaves that, in America that tried to escape and be free, they'd see them as a criminal, or seeing people that smoke weed as a criminal, or seeing people that eat mushrooms as a criminal. I don't think that is right, and I don't think people who eat magic mushrooms to heal and smoke weed to relax, and I do see marijuana as healing too. So smoking marijuana or consuming marijuana or eating magic mushrooms to heal, I don't see as evil. I don't see it as wrong. I see it as a beautifully good thing. And the fact that we are demonizing it and treating people that consume marijuana and magic mushrooms to heal, and the fact that we're treating them like criminals, I think is insane, inhumane, and wrong. And so there are some laws that we have that are completely outrageous and wrong. And so we, as the people, we need to change our government and change our laws to support the people and what's best for the people, and serve the needs of the people, okay? And I'll talk about politics in another video, and I've talked about it before in my past videos, but in this video, I am saying for people who feel like they had their true love soulmate ripped away from them and robbed from them, and they feel like they need to show the world exactly how they felt, and other people need to feel how they felt, I'm telling you, don't do it. Whatever evil thing that you are thinking of doing, do not do it. It's not worth it. Because the guilt and the regret and the consequences and the shame and all of the uncomfortable emotions that comes with that are not worth it. Okay? I'm speaking from experience. I'm speaking from what I've done. Alright? And I understand that it might hurt having your soulmate ripped away from you. I get that. I feel that. Okay? But it is not worth it to hurt other people because you feel hurt that your soulmate got ripped away from you. Or your true love, quote unquote. But I understand true love, with your soulmate, but I'm telling you, the love that I feel from creating art and having magic mushrooms as my muse is higher than creating art with my soulmate. And so, if you need to feel that for yourself and you don't want to take my word for it, you might have to try that for yourself, but don't discredit me and don't say that I'm wrong because you haven't felt that yourself. Unless you felt what it's like to create art and having magic mushrooms as your muse, you can't say for certain that that love feels higher than creating art with your soulmate. Unless you felt that and you've done it, like I have. Because I've done both. I've created art with my soulmate and I've created art with magic mushrooms as my muse. And I'm telling you that the love I feel from magic mushrooms and having them as my muse for my art is higher than creating art with my soulmate, okay? And I highly recommend trying that for yourself and feeling that for yourself so that you know what I'm saying is true and you feel what I'm saying is true, because it is. And so to do evil because you feel like you got your soulmate ripped away from you and you think that is the highest love that you can feel, and you want to show the world and you want other people to feel the hurt that you feel, is stupid and evil. Because you can feel way higher love than creating art with a soulmate. Alright? And there's a few things that I want to say, okay? First of all, if you entertain the evil thoughts and dark thoughts in your mind, that can make you so delusional where you don't even see your soulmate as your soulmate anymore, and you could potentially kill your soulmate. And I just watched this scene from The Magicians where Quentin, The Magicians is actually an adult Harry Potter, and it's kind of like involves like sex magic and dark magic, and it's, you know, in the adult realm of magic, okay? So adult Harry Potter, okay? And you know, they get dark, and they kind of explore the multiverse too. But there was this scene where Quentin, you know, his lover and, you know, I would say soulmate, but I don't know if they called each other soulmates in the show, or in the book, but in the book they live happily ever after, and I'm not going to spoil the TV show. And I didn't read the third book. This is just from what I've been told and what other people told me, that they end up together in the book. But Quentin had got so obsessed with power and power hungry and obsessed with magic and obsessed with the dark side and evil side that his soulmate Alice, first of all, he left her alive to suffer, and, you know, because he thought that she was torturing herself, and so he left her alive because she was torturing herself. And so he didn't even kill her, but when she came back to him and, you know, saying, hey, I still love you, I know the Quentin in there, the Quentin I love is still in there, and I know this isn't you, please come back out. And he's like, yeah, I'm tired of hearing you, and he slits her throat. And that's his love, you know, and I would say soulmate. And he killed her because he was so deluded by his dark thoughts and evil thoughts and his obsession with magic and power, that he couldn't see his soulmate and his true love right in front of him. And he killed her because he saw her in the way, or as a problem or a distraction, and he killed her. And Julia, you know, his best friend from his childhood, came and put, you know, her, they call it shade, but put her soul inside of him so that he could feel all the grief and all the shame and all the regret and all the uncomfortable emotions that he locked away and suppressed inside himself. And, you know, he said that he ate it, but she put it inside of him so that he could feel exactly what he just did, which is killing his soulmate and his lover. And he's like, how could I do this? And he killed himself because he didn't want to live with himself for killing his soulmate. I think that is very interesting, the fact that darkness and evil can delude you so much, and you know, the obsession with power can delude you so much that you wouldn't even be able to see your soulmate right in front of you or feel your soulmate right in front of you, and you could kill her because you are being deluded with evil and darkness and the obsession with power. And so I think a lot of people need to be aware of that, and I need to be more aware of that. And so, yeah, that's why that's why I keep talking about magic mushrooms and how I think they can help heal us, okay? And another thing that I'll say about magic mushrooms is magic mushrooms, yeah, I said they open our heart, but what they can do is scramble the devil's plans for us to do something evil in the future. Let's say the devil has a plan for us to do something evil in the future, magic mushrooms can come and scramble those plans and open our heart to say, oh, yeah, I do not need to do that, I do not need to go down that route, I do not need to take that path. And they can help open our heart to be able to see, like I said, see our problems with a new lens and stop us from doing something wicked and dark and evil, okay? Like I said that magic mushrooms took me out of a suicidal mind, and I had a friend that committed suicide, and I called my friend, but I should have been more of a friend to him, and I didn't, and I regret doing that. But I feel with all my being, I feel this to be true, that if he had the option to eat magic mushrooms and he tried them, it would have stopped them. They would have stopped him from committing suicide. I feel this to be true with all my being. Okay? And so magic mushrooms can't prevent people from taking their own life. Magic mushrooms can help people overcome their alcohol addiction, their tobacco addiction. Magic mushrooms can help people, stop people from committing murder. They can stop people from doing evil, wicked, dark things. Okay? So magic mushrooms can open our heart and scramble the devil's plans for us to do something evil in the future. Okay? So that's why I want more people to be more open to magic mushrooms and not demonize them. Because they are a beautifully good thing that can help us heal. And I also want to say this. Soulmates, how I see soulmates is someone that you're going to be with in heaven, okay? Because I don't think soulmates can go to hell together. Because I don't think the devil, if two soulmates were destined to die together, kind of like Bonnie and Clyde, but they lived a life of evil and sin and didn't turn to Jesus, and they went to hell together, as lovers, and I don't think the devil is going to keep them together, because in a place of infinite torture, I think the devil would separate those lovers to add to their torture, to make their suffering even more unbearable. And so I don't think soulmates go to hell. I think if you're soulmates and you're truly soulmates, y'all go to heaven together. Okay? And if two people live a life of evil together and they have that criminal romance and they go to hell together, I feel they will be separated, and the devil will separate them to make their suffering even more unbearable, because it's a place of infinite torture. Okay? And so an example that I like to think of is, I talked about Joker, Harley Quinn, and my Psychology of Crime video, which I highly recommend watching. But that they're an example of the criminal romance. But I actually remember that in the Harley Quinn TV show, when Harley Quinn, got with Poison Ivy and left Joker, and Joker was kind of doing his own thing and stuff like that, but he actually found another woman, and a woman who was a mother, and she kind of lived a simple life, and she wasn't too fancy, and she wasn't like Harley Quinn, and she was just kind of a regular woman. And he gave up the Joker, okay, the clown prince of crime, Batman's biggest, worst enemy, okay, number one foe, gave up crime for a woman that he said is his true love, soulmate, okay? So if two people were truly meant to be together and truly soulmates, I feel they will become the best versions of themselves and give up crime, give up evil, and give up any bad, terrible thing, and become the best version of themselves for their soulmate. I recommend doing it for Jesus first. But when you have that example of the Joker giving up his life of crime for a regular woman, but this woman feels like his soulmate to him, okay? And it's not Harley Quinn. And so he gave up the life of crime to live that settled down life, to live that regular life for his lover, for his soulmate. And so he gave up evil, he gave up crime, he gave up his past life. And I think he was even running for like mayor or something, some kind of role or leader position where he could do good. I'm not too sure on that, but I think he was trying his best to give back to the community. And when you have examples like that, that is what soulmates is. Not a criminal romance where two lovers go to hell together. No. Soulmates, I believe and I feel to be true, that soulmates is someone that you're going to be with in heaven. And y'all bring out the best versions of each other. And you want to become the best version of yourself. And y'all help each other. And yeah, y'all give up the crime, y'all give up the evil. You give up the things that are holding you back. So that y'all can live a good life together and have a good family. Okay? So you give up the evil and the darkness and the life of crime to have good lives and a good family. Yeah, that's how I see soulmates. Soulmates as two people who will be together in heaven and help each other become the best versions of themselves. That's how I see soulmates. Not two people who are living a criminal romance and they'll probably go into hell together, because I feel like the devil will separate them to make their suffering even more unbearable, because it's a place of infinite torture. So, yeah, that's how I see soulmates. And yeah, I talked about how when you feel like you get your soulmate robbed from you, it makes it feel like you want to do evil and hurt people. And I made the video of the world will end unless Katie comes back in my life. And I made that video and I was angry and I was mad and upset and jealous and a whole bunch of uncomfortable emotions, because I felt like my soulmate was robbed from me and taken away from me. And I feel terrible for making that video, and I feel terrible for the things that I've done when I put myself in that mindset, which is the mindset of living my life at the end of the world and not to build a future. Because I was mad and angry and almost hateful, because I felt like my soulmate was robbed from me and I didn't get the chance to fight for her. So that was my way of fighting for her, to get her back. But it was just me making a fool of myself and me being stupid. And like I said, I passed on herpes to a woman that I slept with, and I chose not to wait until marriage because I was living my life like every day was my last and living for the end of the world. So I just gave in to sex and I had sex with her, even though I knew I had herpes, but I didn't tell her. And I told her afterwards, but I still did something terrible and I hurt someone's feelings because I was mad and I felt like the world robbed me of my soulmate, and I wanted to act out and get revenge or payback, or I was stupid and I was a fool, and I'm trying my best to make up for that, and I'm not proud of that, especially after everything that I went through, and especially the love that I feel from magic mushrooms and creating art with magic mushrooms, and knowing and feeling that to be higher of a love than the love that I feel from creating art with my soulmate. Especially doing that after me feeling that and knowing that, it just makes me feel even more terrible, because I know creating art with my soulmate is not the highest love that I can feel. And so I don't need to act out or act like a fool or hurt anybody because I feel like I got that robbed from me. And I just want to let other people know that there is love that you can feel that is way higher than your soulmate. And I just want to help more people feel that way and realize that and understand that. And I think the world will be a better place if we open ourselves up to marijuana and magic mushrooms and more people created art.